We have some breaking news as a brand new report has dropped per Adam Schefter that the Eagles have just traded for a former All-Pro cornerback, and we're going to get into exactly who this player is and how he is going to affect this Eagles defense heading into Week 9 against the Green Bay Packers. Guys, how's it going? Jack here with another video. Right now, we sit at 781 subscribers. We noticed that 98.4% of you are not subscribed, so please make sure to hit that subscribe button, getting all your trade updates, rumors, and news from Eagles Digest. Guys, we're trying to hit 800 subscribers by the end of Sunday Night Football tomorrow. Your support has been absolutely unbelievable from these videos. We appreciate any and all the love that you guys are giving us. But guys, let's get into this trade report right now. This is pretty crazy, guys. The Eagles, it's per Adam Schefter, a rare in-season Saturday trade. The Ravens are sending former Pro Bowl cornerback Jaire Alexander and a 2027 7th-round pick to the Eagles in exchange for a 2026 6th-round pick per sources. And above, he says that new Eagles cornerback Jaire Alexander could be playing his first game for Philadelphia Monday night at Lambeau Field against his former team. Now, guys, Jaire Alexander is, a pretty polarizing corner at this point in his career. He's a former first overall pick. He got drafted to Green Bay, and with his time in Green Bay, he was an excellent cornerback. He was touted as one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL at one point. Very, very, very athletic corner, very speedy, great hands, very, very sticky corner. He great in press man coverage. One of those guys that is, not going to give up any degree of separation. He's going to keep it. He's very handsy. He's going to keep his eye on his man. He's going to get his feet set. He's going to stick to your guy like he's supposed to. Departing from Green Bay, he did this offseason, going to Baltimore. They had their contract negotiations, Jaire Alexander and Green Bay did, and of course they did not see eye to eye, and that's why he ended up over there in Baltimore. But guys, looking at this trade right now, I think that Jaire Alexander could be a great cornerback for this team. I know that they just traded for Michael Carter this past week, but having someone like Jaire Alexander, who is, a proven star corner in this league, can be really important for this Eagles team, especially in the locker room. And at bare minimum, guys, if Howie Roseman didn't make this trade for a defensive playing standpoint, he might have just made this for just having depth at this position. Because you take a look at this cornerback group we have right now. We have Adoree Jackson, Perry Nixon, Mac McWilliams, Kieley Ringo, Jacorian Bennett, and Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean. Now, of course, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are proven star corners right now. They're the best defensive backs we have at the moment. And, you look at our depth right now in Adoree Jackson and Kieley Ringo, who have been the guys playing the cornerback 2 spot next to Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. And, of course, they have not been playing up to par this season like we would have hoped. Adoree Jackson did end up with the starting cornerback 2 spot, and he has not looked good this year. And with him and his lack of play, we would hope that Kieley Ringo would have came in. He was a former Georgia Bulldog draft pick from 2 years ago. We would hope that he would have came in, really elevated his play from playing on such a talented Georgia defense and making a statement on this Eagles defense. But he also hasn't been playing up to the level that is expected of him so far. Jacorian Bennett is also nursing an injury at the moment, and Mac McWilliams and Perry Nixon, I wouldn't say are really NFL ready at this point. I would much rather play Adoree Jackson and Kieley Ringo at this point. But of course, now we have Michael Carter and of course Jaire Alexander. Now, looking at Jaire Alexander, guys, something that's really important, I think, about him is that he's played the cornerback 2 spot for most of his career. He hasn't played a lot of slot, which gives the opportunity for Cooper DeJean to stay in the slot spot, and Jaire Alexander can go to the cornerback 2 spot. Because when we analyzed the Michael Carter trade the other day, we said that he played the cornerback, the slot corner spot primarily, and there were talks of moving Cooper DeJean to the cornerback 2 spot. And there was a lot of comments around that, wondering if Cooper DeJean can keep up in that cornerback 2 spot, where they're playing the outside wide receivers, the guys that are going on those go routes, going on the big crossing plays. They're gonna take it to the house and go in for touchdowns. And is Cooper DeJean ready to take on that challenge? Is he ready to take on those speedy receivers that are running for those big yardage plays? Well, I don't think we really have to worry about that at this point now with someone like Jair Alexander, who I know has had his issues, obviously. I mean, you look here, you see that he's played 7 games in 2023, 7 games in 2024, 4 games in 2021. He had a full season there in 2022, and, he made all-pro second team. But, that's something you guys have to look at there. This is a former all-pro we're talking about right now. I think if you put him in the right system, like Vic Fangio's, someone, a defensive coordinator who elevates to anybody who anywhere from a 7th round pick to an undrafted free agent. This is a guy that can bring out the best in any player, things that they didn't even think they had. He can bring out their athletic traits, their speed, their coverage skills, their tackling. He can work with any kind of player, especially someone that has had his injury issues in the past. Now, Jair Alexander right now being in Baltimore, he's kind of had he's been a healthy scratch right now for most of the season. He had some knee issues in the preseason over the summer, so he's been a healthy scratch as of right now. He only played 2 games this year so far. If you just take a look here, he only played against Houston and Buffalo, and obviously he hasn't played his best football. His coverage has been awful. It's nothing to what it used to be in Green Bay. If you watch that Buffalo game, you can see that he gave up a lot of big plays, and his tackling certainly wasn't used to be. He missed a lot of tackles and was letting his guys go and taking it to the house, which is not something you want to see from one of your offseason signings. But I hope that bringing in Jair Alexander here can elevate this secondary, because we've seen some lackluster play so far this year. I know these past 2 weeks has been great to see, beating New York and Minnesota, 2 teams that I thought were definitely going to give us trouble. I mean, New York sure did when they put up 30 points on us a few weeks ago, but I was a little wouldn't want to say scared, but this Minnesota Vikings team was nothing to mess with, right? That was a really, really talented defense. I think we kind of got lucky there that Carson Wentz is playing, and of course Carson Wentz is not what he used to be, but that was definitely a factor that played into that win. But just if you take a look over here at Jair Alexander's previous years here, you can just see how consistent and dominant he was in his days in Green Bay. And if you bring in a cornerback with a history like that too, a team like the Eagles under Vic Fangio and the kind of scheme that he runs defensively, I think he can really bring out maybe not an all-pro level Jair Alexander, but someone who is maybe a level below that, you're very good above average corner. And I think that's really, really special, and I think that's something that can definitely happen in these coming weeks against Green Bay. And you look at Jair Alexander and the Green Bay Packers and their contract disputes from it's been going on for the past year or two, I believe now, and he's going to go into Lambeau Field in Week 9 with a chip on his shoulder. He probably feels a little disrespected that the Packers didn't feel like they needed to pay him. They moved on from him. They said, yeah, you go to another team and figure your stuff out. We don't really think we need you here anymore. So I think he's definitely going to go into Lambeau Field with a little bit of a redemption arc there. He's going to want to show that Green Bay made a mistake and that they shouldn't have let him go, and he's probably going to hopefully for our sake he makes him pay for it. But guys, let me know what you think down below about this Jair Alexander trade. Let me know how you think it affects this defense. Do you think Jair Alexander is going to start at the cornerback 2 spot? Do you think they're going to switch Cooper DeJean over to the slot? Let me know what you think down below, guys. And as always, go Birds.